Hi, it's Rock, and welcome back to Vipatacticaltraining. Violence is going through the roof, and we're only halfway through January 2025. Gun crime, knife crime, physical assaults, it's all going through the roof. Crime is soaring. And we're not just looking at here gang on gang, we're looking at aggression and violence against citizens. And we've seen lots and lots of various crimes and attacks. And like I said, we're only 18 days into January. We've seen multiple stabbings in the UK. We've seen people get set on fire on the tube in the US. The US and the UK, we've seen people pushed in front of tube trains. The crime is going through the roof. And a sad fact that citizens have got to realise, and like the thumbnail says, is nobody is going to come and save you. You really, really have to understand that. No one is going to come and save you. Not the police, and most likely not another member of the public. And the only reason that is because members of the public are very rarely trained to deal with the levels of violence. Unless you're like me and your other instructors, and you're lucky enough to have a person walking past as you're being assaulted, people aren't going to help. They're just not going to put their own lives at risk, which is understandable. And the police, unless you're in a large city environment where response times might be short, unlike myself, 45 minutes response times to my location. A lot can happen in 45 minutes and a lot can happen in 5 minutes, 1 minute, a few seconds. That's all it takes. You really, really need to understand that no one's coming to save you. The only person that can save you is yourself. With that in mind, at the moment I'm concentrating on situational awareness on these videos, because lots of people are still not situationally aware. I see a lot of videos, people talk about intuition, and I'm going to cover this. I'm doing a workshop next Saturday on the 25th. I'll put a link below where you can sign up to this workshop. The workshops are only 2 hours long. Saturday the 25th, 10 a.m. till 12 a.m. UK time. I'll put a link below where you can sign up for that course, for that workshop. I'll put a link below on my 9.5 tips for situational awareness, to get you started on what you need to know about enhancing your intuition, because intuition is not working for you. That's why we see so many people being attacked and afterwards they've said to the police, "Oh, I thought there was something wrong." Okay, if you thought there was something wrong, why didn't you act on it? And I'll go through why intuition is not working in January 2025. We're going to look at everything. Situational awareness is about the pre-attack phase, before an attack happens. And we're going to look at, on these workshops, just a few things about what you can do to enhance your intuition. It takes training, and it's really, really, unless you're like me, who's a nerd, who's into all this sort of stuff, it's all boring. It really is boring. And I'm going to make it more interesting for you. I'm going to break it down, suggest some games you can play in your head while you're walking along the street, while you're sitting in a restaurant, how to be aware, and when I come on to behavioural detection shortly, we'll come on to different games, how you can make it more interesting, and how you can protect yourself before something happens. We're going to look at, like I said, your intuition, why it's not working. I'll cover this on the workshop in depth, and I'll look at why the difference between third world countries and first world countries, and how the populations differ, and how their intuition is a lot more enhanced presently as ours is not. So we're going to look at a lot of aspects to do with that. On the 26th, next Sunday on the 26th, I'm running a behavioural detection workshop. Again, 2 hours, 10 till 12 UK time. The link will be down below in the description. Behavioural detection plays a big part within situational awareness. We need to be able to understand what we're looking at. There's a difference between looking at something and actually seeing and understand what we're looking at. So behavior detection plays a big part in it, and situational awareness is a huge learning platform anyway. There's a huge amounts to go into situational awareness. And what I'm going to do is break this down and help people train through these videos on just maybe one aspect a week to learn, one aspect a month to learn, depending on how you want to do it. And within the behavior detection workshop, I'm going to take parts of my 5-day course. So we're going to look at baselines. You know, what is a baseline? How do you decide what your baseline is for your local area? And within that, we're going to look at what's normal. You know, what do people do in your area? What's normal? And then how do we understand what's abnormal and what's standing out that might not be right when your intuition starts to go, something's not right. So what do you need to look for? The attack cycle. We're going to look at the attack cycle, and that is part of the planning phase that every scumbag out there has, whether it be a pickpocket, a table surfer, a mugger, a rapist, a murderer, a terrorist. They all have a cycle of what target choices, the planning of attacking that target, whether that's to, you know, if somebody's bag's open and they can pinch somebody's purse, or they're following someone and they're deciding on where I'm going to attack them. Maybe follow them 3 or 4 or 5 weeks, watch their routines, and we're going to come in and we're going to look at that. And I do this with a lot of people who've been stalking. Who've been stalked, and we do a lot of anti-stalking training with them. So I'm going to go through that. Patterns of behavior. You know, what are patterns of behavior? People go, oh, yeah, we've got to look at behaviors. So what is normal behavior? What's abnormal behavior? We're going to look at clothing, iconography. What do people wear? What jewelry do they wear? You know, if you're getting caught up in a riot or a march, what do people wear that shows them that they are part of a sect, of a cult, of a group? We're going to look at patterns of behavior to do with not just how you act, but what physical aspects do you have about you that stands out from the crowd, or blends in with the crowd that stands out from everybody else. And within that, we're going to look at what's called cognitive and primal aggression. There's 2 different types of aggression we need to be aware of, and we've all been aware of, and we all see the angry person with the red face, spreading his arms, shouting, banging on doors and windscreens and everything else. And we're going to look at the difference and the build-up between an actual attack in the pre-fight phase, the pre-attack phase, and the difference between what's called cognitive aggression and primal aggression. There's a big difference. And when we're looking at de-escalation, if we get to a point where we have got into a possible confrontational situation and we're going to try and de-escalate that situation, we need to know when our de-escalation is failing or when it's actually failed. There is a point on the threat continuum and the aggression continuum where de-escalation will no longer work, and we have to realize what that point is. And at that point, do we either preempt with an attack, or do we preempt by escaping? And we need to know when to do that, and when the enemy in front of us are going beyond that point, and there's nothing we can do or say to stop the inevitable outcome there. So I'm going to look at that on the behavioural detection workshop on the 26th. Again, the link will be down there. So there's lots and lots to do with situational awareness, and just the basic things can keep you out of harm's way as well. So I hope you can join me on those 2 workshops next weekend. I'm also going to be doing lots of training videos like I have done in the past. I'm going to do some single person solo training. If you're like me, I live rurally. I've got my own gym at home, luckily enough, and I do, unless I'm teaching courses or classes, I train alone more than anything else. And a lot of people also train alone. So I'm going to do a lot of training scenarios you can do using bits of equipment, whether you need to buy that equipment or you can just, acquire it or you've got it at home and you can use props. We'll do lots of solo training because it's really essential that you can train properly on your own. Okay, so I think that's enough for now. So if you like these videos, really please like them, subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying them. Have a great day, stay dangerous, rock.